Amit has been promising since last 1 week to give his bio to me, but he hasn't. So, but I know him pretty well, so I think I can say a few words. Um, I came across Amit. I met Amit a few years ago, and we came across his work with a beautiful, fabulous book called India Timeless Celebration. I really, really love the work, and with that, I met him on completely some other thing, and but our collaboration started with that book that I saw, and Amit has been a part of my Unsung project, Unsung, the second book of Unsung project, and we have been friends. We've been talking and sharing a lot over the last few years. Amit is a very passionate photographer. He does both commercial work and which supports his uh, should I say, personal projects or social documentary projects. He has been awarded a major prize from Japanese Mehra Museum for his India Tamil celebration. His very interesting new work is going to be a book, a new work in Kashmir is going to be a book very soon, and you're going to see images from that. It's neither it's not about the conflict, neither about the beauty and the landscape, but a very interesting point of view which I've seen this work and I've loved it. And over to you.
Right. Really unusual situation for the photographer. On this side, we are always that side. Well, a lot has been said about photography. Wonderful things happen. Yesterday, Katie said the buzz in Delhi, the photography buzz happens in Delhi. So one keeps complaining about this thing in Bombay. This thing doesn't happen in Bombay. Well, man, the thing doesn't happen in Bombay because you don't have Prashant Panjiyar and Dinesh Khanna. A lot has been said about the duo again, but it comes from the heart. And I think all the photographers are going to repeat this because it's coming from the heart. And it's not only about this festival. If I know Dinesh has been very instrumental in uniting photographers in Delhi, which is a hell of a lot of task. Whether it's beer or gupsha, whether it's Delhi, on Facebook, Delhi photographers, whatever. He's always been very, very instrumental about this uniting photographers. Let's make it a unanimous voice, photography. And on the other side, the man who hardly speaks is Prashant, who is silently picking up the talent.
I don't speak very much also.
But when you speak, makes sense. Nurturing the talent, and it's a lethal combination. It's a lethal combination which happens to this city. And very selflessly they have worked on this concept. I mean, to that extent, I was noticing this thing, and I was telling Janita that in the opening, that Prashant Panjiyar was going all the way from down to the up, giving mics. He has 10 other volunteers. But no ego issues, nothing, just working for photography, which sets a wonderful example. Anyway, as I said, lot has been talked about photography. Yesterday, me and Amit Pasricha were talking about boss. Prabhuddha had spoken such a length. We had a wonderful session with Dayanara. Swapan had shown the other world. And then the final killer was Asim Rashidi. What a wonderful festival happened. Such informative. So many talks happened. And here I am. I'll be presenting Kashmir today, which I started working in 2006. And in 2006, actually, I was finishing my previous project on India, and I was looking for a new project. That's how I work on my personal work. The moment I'm in the process of finishing the project, I start looking for the new project. When I was looking for the project, I had two choices. In my subconscious, Kashmir was there because we had been reading about Kashmir a lot. I had been following Kashmir without any notion of doing a project on Kashmir, but maybe it was there in my subconscious. And very seriously, it was there in my subconscious. So one subject was Kashmir, and the other was my wife, Manjri. Manjri I wanted to follow because not that she is my wife or out of the trend of, start shooting your friends or wives or grandmother. There are different levels everybody explores in relationship. But I wanted, besides relationship, I wanted to do a personal project on Manjri because she is a very competent woman. A woman of multi-layers who stood against the whole art fraternity to establish her own art form, Sufi Kathak. A wonderful companion. So whatever a photographer requires, the elements, all the elements were there in that subject. But for me, the problem was the proximity. I was too close to her. Proximity and accessibility, which is an advantage in some cases, But for me, that was a problem. The project was coming. I would say it was too easy project for me. It was not throwing any challenge. It was coming on a platter. Whenever I was there, she was there. Too much of proximity, and when the proximity is too much, I think the things get blurred. So I have chosen the other one, Kashmir, without any preconceived notion about Kashmir. I landed in Kashmir, and when I landed, I normally do the project in 4 stages, which is conceiving the project, which is planning, then the funding, and the treatment. The first 3 are relatively easy thing comparing to the treatment. Conceived to kar liya, landed in Kashmir. The moment this K word comes in our mind, or the moment we hear this K word, a certain imagery floats. Conflict, stone pelting, strikes, whatever negative you can think, it flows. Here, Amit, Mehra, without having any idea of physicality of Kashmir, going through with a baggage of what I've been reading about Kashmir, landed up in Kashmir. Now, there was a project which was so close to me, so easy for me to do on my wife, and here is a project which was so challenging for me. Because out of all these things, the 5th, which I'm going to speak about it, was the most important thing, and I was not prepared at all for that, was the mistrust. Being an Indian was a major issue in Kashmir. Being an Indian photographer was a major issue. And I faced all that threats, anger, pain, humiliation, and then later on, I met the best of the friends in Kashmir. Finest people I have met in my life in Kashmir. So there was this project which was there for me, and there was this project which was absolutely new. And what Kashmir offers is the imagery of conflict or sunset at Dal or strikes. You land up in Kashmir. I have seen photographers, foreign photographers, the movement is so strategized that you land, and I'm sure a lot of news photographers here, then about, you land up on Thursday, you know Friday namaz, after Friday namaz, the protest session is on. I mean, to that extent that calls have been made. I was sitting in Indian Express office with a photographer, he got a call, Javed bhai, aap aa nahi rahe. We are about to start. Now, these are the realities. And by saying that, I am not underestimating the struggle of Kashmiris. They are very brave people. But how the political movements being strategized is one of them. I landed up there, I started working on Kashmir, unconsciously falling in the trap of a photojournalist. I started behaving like a photojournalist, which I was not. Started shooting the same images because that's what Kashmir offers. Instantly. You land up in Kashmir, you start getting those images. Talking of photojournalist, which I was not. I had fallen into the trap and started shooting like a photojournalist. For 1 year, or I would say more than 1 year, 15 months or so, back and forth, 6 trips, 5 trips, after every 2 months. I was going in Kashmir, shooting in Mysoma, shooting in Zainakadar, shooting in some other Kadar, Friday namaz, protest, tear gas. And initially I started enjoying that also because after a long time, I was again playing the role of a photojournalist. I started my career as a photojournalist, but I moved to it because you need guts to be a photojournalist. Not in the field, or not only in the field, but back in the office also. So, you need guts, man. I moved out because of the inside politics of the. But anyway, besides all. So initially I started enjoying that process of, after a long time I'm again there and I'm creating images. But after 2-3 times what happened, I used to come back and see my laptop and I used to, as a photographer, which is not my nature, but I used to directly compare my work with a AP site, AFP site. And all those friends, Yasin, Rafiq, everybody was shooting with me and we were like, I was shooting the same images. I immediately, after 15 months I realized what the hell I'm doing. It's a complete disaster. It was a complete disaster for me because I am shooting like a photojournalist, which I am not. My project on Kashmir was something else. And I felt so disgusted that I said, it's not going to happen with me because I'm not getting any lead in this. And here the term called patience comes. Have patience, move inside the mission. Either the conflict or the duty. Either the conflict or the duty. In one of the openings, I don't know if it's remembers or not, I asked him. I discussed this problem with you and you said, okay, next time you go and go without camera. I said it's very good. I told my ass, how can I go without camera? Anyway, I went with camera. But drop the camera in the middle. I started talking to people just to get a lead. How should I move on this project? Because nobody shoots beyond conflict in Kashmir. Nobody has ever seen Kashmir in the last 20 years besides us. I started talking about, the first thing came to my mind, the people who must have contributed positively in this process of Kashmir in the last 20 years. The difficult part starts now when I said, okay, let's speak to people. So I started speaking to Chaiwala, to Shikarwala, to industrialists, to started making friends. I had few friends. Through photographers, I started making friends. But what I realized that nobody was open. Initially, I was talking to journalists, lot of media, nobody was giving me lead about the positive aspect of it, or about any other story except the Song of Freedom or the Agni on Pain. Agni on Pain. So it was very difficult to break through that wall and moving into the skin of my project. But gradually it started. It took me almost 2 years. And why I am discussing this? Because, there are a lot of colleagues are sitting here, they all know about these things, but a lot of youngsters should understand that how a project unfolds. Amit told me one thing very good. He asked me how much time you have taken on this. I said 5 years. He said, fair enough, because after 2.5 years, the project, you start conceiving the project and then the project moves on. But today's problem is 2.5 years is too much. 2.5 months, just finish the project. So when I started doing this, the biggest problem there I faced, a lot has been spoken about, in the previous session about the funding aspect. How to, I think some gentlemen just asked with the conceiving of an idea and then moving into the image business and then the funding. All those things are there at the back of the mind, which was not there and I was not prepared. The element I had spoken about was distrust. There was so much of mistrust between India and Kashmir. And the moment you say, I want to do an offbeat story, everybody said, there were doubts. Are you an Indian agent? Is it a government propaganda? I said, I'm simply a photographer who wants to do my story on Kashmir. But nobody was interested. A lot of argument happened. I am paying my tax. My tax is going to Kashmir. That it was very difficult for me to digest their movement being in India. That nationalism used to come in between. It took me quite some time to realize that if you really want to move into somebody's skin, then you have to drop yourself. I dropped my Indian identity and then I actually behaved like a documentary photographer who is neutral on the ground, without being biased of what you are doing, what you are not doing, what are your problems. I'm just trying to understand. And when I moved into this arena, they started moving. So it was a major task to break this wall in between India and Kashmir. Some of my pictures, portraits especially, talk about how this wall is. There's a very thin wall, very invisible wall. When we say, for a tourist, Kashmir is a paradise. But like Asim said last night, and we spoke in length about it, it's no more a paradise, or paradise is not cursed. It's a very lonely place, extremely lonely, depressed place because of the turmoil. Death is such common phenomenon in Kashmir. It happens so casually that the cityscapes have become graveyard. Graveyard becomes an integral part of Kashmiri cityscape, or Srinagar, or anywhere you go. I mean, you'll be surprised to know that all these things came to my mind and has been projected as a project. We have community centers in our mohallas or our streets, or in Delhi you have some Baratar or community center, in Bombay or wherever. Social engagement place. In Kashmir, there is a Qabristan in every mohalla. So the ratio of death is so high that they can't afford to have a larger Qabristan or a graveyard. They need to have every graveyard or small graveyard in their own community center. That's what their community center is actually. That's how in Kashmir, it's a very conservative society. People meet either in marriages or in deaths, more on deaths. So that's how the project started, which I'm going to show now. And then, yeah, one more thing was there. Why this project was challenging for me, because in the last 20 years there was no record of the pictures what I wanted to do or what I did. Besides violence, besides negativity, besides turmoil, because nothing has been shot in Kashmir besides all this, except 20 years back, the work by the legendary photographer Raghuveer Singh, which I decided that I'm not going to see till the time I complete this project. So there was no reference available. It was a commitment to myself that I'm not going to see until date. I'm looking for that book. I hope you have. Because
I have it. Yes, we all have one. I can say, have you been looking at it?
I was looking at Amazon, it's not available.
We'll hide it.
My project is over. My project is over. And this is the first time I'm showing this. The images are coming out a little dark on this. But anyway, so that was a challenge because, normally we get influence. It's a human nature. But in my case, I had to rediscover and write the grammar from the beginning, which was a challenge and a blessing in disguise. There are certain images in this. The book is going to come out in the winters, and I have used certain images from the book also, but it's a larger body of work. It is something like a photographer standing silently, quietly at a corner of Kashmir, reading and narrating the lives of Kashmiris. Very silent body of work. I have used birds, in pictures I have used birds, animals, certain other symbols, clouds, as metaphors. It's a very silent journey. And here I go. Can you switch off the light, please?
स्विच है इधर, उससे पैर मत रखना.
Sorry, the images were turning out to be too.
Check it all, yeah. What does it take? Because I think the biggest problem with, especially, it's not just young photographers. It happens with a lot of photographers where you are so close to your work, and it's a lot of time to. And Kashmir is not, in the neighborhood. So going back and forth. What was the shift? What was it? I mean, I did hear that. As you said, you want to get bracketed into the conflict or the beauty, but more of your personal thing. But your disconnection.
My disconnection was I was shooting too much of informative images. My call was not that professional. My previous project, I wanted a very challenging project in front of me for me. That's the reason I decided I opted for between these two. That's the reason I opted for between these two projects. I opted for Kashmir. I wanted to throw a challenge because my previous project was relatively an easy project on India. And then project on my wife it was sounding too easy for me because of the proximity, accessibility. I wanted something which is non-accessible. Mistrust came later. The treatment I wanted to give an absolutely different treatment.
I can hear you.
And the disconnect happened after 15 months or so because of what I thought of my project. It was not turning out to be, and I was trying to portray someone else which I am not. I became like a photojournalist. And it's not my cup of tea. Photojournalism is far serious affair. I was shooting mediocre pictures. I mean, my bap is sitting here. I mean, if you talk about photojournalism in Kashmir is not an easy job. It's not an easy job because he is or any conflict zone. I mean, that's a different topic we can discuss. But my major disconnect was this, and at the back of mind, whenever I used to come back and to Delhi, I always used to see my files and say similar images. I was repeating myself. Photographer should be very aware of what he's doing. Initially I was getting mediocre pictures, and I started getting good pictures also in the same. I would have continued. I was getting pictures, what Asim was talking about, the picture which just fits into the editor's slot sitting in New York or in London. The agency's pictures. I was exactly shooting that. That's what Kashmir has to offer. I mean, Kashmir by and large offers. But if you're doing a personal project, I mean, there is nothing wrong in doing those kind of pictures, but that was not my call. My major problem was I was behaving like someone else, which I'm not. My treatment, what I thought was something else, and it was turning out to be something else. So I completely trashed the work. I didn't even trash, not in terms of deleted it. But yes, I decided that let's start the project. At one point of time, I shelved the project. I said, I'm not going to, there was no, I was not moving forward, there was no, nothing was there to inspire. It's a very lonely place. It's an extremely lonely place. Like me and Asim had a long discussions about this, and the same conclusion is, who says it's a paradise on earth now anymore? It's no longer a paradise. It's a very, very depressing place because what all happened in the last 20 years, the bloodshed. You move into the lanes and bylanes of Srinagar, the haunting place.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I noticed that, what you said, you didn't want to go into the conventional conflict imagery, which is, guns and...
Images are there, guns, they are very metaphoric. Images
Yeah,
are there,
that's what I'm
the gun is there, the conflict is there, the loneliness is there. If you see most of my landscapes in this, they are not beautiful landscapes, they are very lonely landscapes. Extremely lonely, and it was a very difficult project in terms of physicality. Funding comes later, we all learn through our commercial project, we are not as good as the seniors getting grants.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you that, when you said that you were not going to offer any commentary through this work, you were taking a neutral position. When you were editing this book, I know, so what do you have any parameters that you kept when you're editing this for your book?
Editing was the toughest job for this body of work. This is only 1/3 I have shown here. And in my book, only 20% of the book pictures are here. Because for all practical reason, I didn't want to reveal all the pictures in one go. But editing was the toughest call. I asked Red Saab. He said, you do it. I'm not going to help you out in this. Blessing in disguise. Me and Nagar sat on this. The first time the man who saw the images in terms of editing or the body of work was Sopan Parekh. And he said, Amit, this is not what I've seen, what you have done in your last book. This is a different body of work altogether. You should continue this. I mean, this was 3 years back, 2 years back. That was a big positive sign that the work is, we all should share the body of work. As far as the editing is concerned, there were 9 edits before going into the final edit of the book. And believe you me, I tried to be very non-judgmental, very non-political. It's a very non-political body of work. It's a very extremely personal body of work. And I'm not trying to make any statement. I'm very against.
It does make a statement.
What sort of a statement I want to know?
It clearly makes the strife, the loneliness. So I think that there is a very strong social commentary here. Flat, or like a dead man standing there and absolutely neutral social commentary. I think there's a few balances from what I saw of the band and other lady in the mansion.
Yeah. See, my idea was to show Kashmir in a very different perspective what has not been shown. These kind of images have never been shown in the last 20 years as far as I know. And I have researched on Kashmir, Google, anything and everything one can imagine. But my idea was to show Kashmir in the most honest manner. And I had a fight with all those, lot of argument with all those people in Kashmir. I tried my level best to get the, there were some pictures. There was a phase of changing women of Kashmir in this body of work. There were few women, very conventional women, and and these were not normal women. They have contributed a lot. If I tell you their story, they have brought some positive change in the life of Kashmir or the Kashmiris. I mean, the golfer, the picture you have seen, she's the finest golfer of Asia. She's the only golf manager in the entire Asia, a female golf manager. Nobody knows about these people, the footballers. They're the first, I say Indian or Kashmiri, doubted. They're the first one who went to play league in Spain. But nobody knows about them. Because nobody, sitting people over there, I have a major problem there. The people sitting over there, they don't want these things to come out. They just don't want. My idea was working on this project. It was not a pro-Indian or anti-Kashmiri. because you can see a lot of pain, a lot of loneliness in the pictures. The idea was to bring out that body of work which has not been shown. And as I said, there was no reference picture for me, which was a blessing.
So when you edited it, you had a very balanced view.
Very balanced, very balanced.
So, Amit, I have a question. All the time that you spent over there, did you not see anything that was happy in Kashmir? I mean, I know that the general landscape of the place is loneliness, is strife, is a whole lot of misery, yes.
Yes.
But, you know, the human spirit is such that it will, in the worst of strife, still find something of joy in it.
Yes.
You know, I'm sure there was some celebration somewhere which you saw, and by and large, you know, the feel that I got, I'm feeling very depressed right now, you know, just to think that there is a body of people. So
I'm
close
happy,
to us.
I'm happy, I'm happy because why I'll tell you, because that was the purpose. That's how it started. It's no longer a paradise.
I get that. However, if what you're saying is that it's a neutral place, you went with a very neutral kind of mental state. And that's
Accessibility was a major problem in shooting marriages.
in shooting marriages, but is marriage the
Celebration.
only celebration?
Hardly any celebration happens. I don't know about your knowledge of Kashmir.
Very.
You
Because
go there, you will find the tourism. If you go there as a tourist, you will love it.
I would-
You know,
yeah.
you will love it because the beautiful Kashmir starts from Dal Gate,
And then
ends at Nehru Park.
sure. I'm sure.
The real Kashmir, you go there, this is 3 o'clock. You go there in the violence of Kashmir right now, call up somebody and ask them how many people are walking on the street. It's always like a curfew situation there.
Sure, so it just, you know, my whole thing is coming just from there that maybe that's the truth. I've never been to Kashmir, I've only heard wonderful things about it and the equally bad things about it. Having said that, if you know you're coming out with a book, I'm speaking from someone, you know, the perspective of a reader.
Yeah.
If you're coming out with a book that says I'm portraying Kashmir and then there is, it's stark misery.
Why?
Because, you know, even small things like a birth is something which is,
That's the metaphor. You know, that's what the life is always on sale.
so,
Excuse me. I disagree with your comment that at 3 o'clock right now, I was shooting a documentary film 1 month ago in Habba Kadal in the downtown area. And
Except the areas, let me, I got your question, except the areas which are commercial hubs. I'm talking about,
commercial hub.
I know,
My wife
I'm
is a-
very familiar
My
with.
wife is a Kashmiri. I was shooting there, and you know, I was shooting there for 20 days, regularly in the downtown area.
What did you feel?
Yeah, of course, the loneliness is there, but I think
That's
the
the
sweeping
whole-
statement that you know, it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I think it's a kind of a perception that we create. Of course, there is celebration in Kashmir as well. It's a painful celebration, but the point is there is pain.
But
and
it is there in the
celebration.
picture. You look at the picture of children. There is a celebration, sense of celebration.
And-
What do you mean by celebration? Until the band baza is happening, the celebration is not
No, I'm
there.
not saying that. I'm not saying
I tell you, the one celebration point. There was how Kashmir works. There was I was there on the New Year Eve this time. For us DJs, we don't even care. It's an outdated concept. The first DJ party happened in 2011 New Year Eve in Kashmir, in the history of Kashmir. There is no cinema hall in Kashmir. The first DJ party happened, and along with the entire media, we tried our level best. It happened in Grand Mumtaz. There was not entire, I'm sorry, but whole lot of Kashmiris were interested in going there. Photographers were not allowed. Media was not allowed. Getting the access, that's what my point is. And for an Indian photographer, getting an access is not an easy man.
No, I agree with you. But what
I
I'm
can
saying is
disagree
that-
with totally. I disagree. I spent 3 months last year in Kashmir.
Yeah.
And I went alone. Maybe
No.
with the company you were keeping,
Yeah.
that you had a problem getting access to.
No. Access of what? I'll tell you.
I went and I used to get into people like chaiwalas and they used to take me to their house. And I'm not,
That's all.
but I'm not talking about the tourist hub. Not at all. I'm talking about the
Try to
city.
listen to me. The people who are bringing positive change to Kashmir.
But the way you portrayed them is like you've taken a very stark and negative view what nature is.
Also things like the
Why did you miss out the pictures of the changing face
So I
of
think
women?
it's because of the music you have used.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
it's
very hard to
very
read it.
hard.
It's
Music
very
which is very hard.
Hey guys, calm down now. Listen, this is a person's vision. Okay, this is a person's vision. He's so let his journey be. You may disagree with it, but look, appreciate what he's trying to do. Look at the aesthetics. It's his journey both in terms of travel as a photographer and also as how he's trying to shift the canvas, his palette. So, I mean, Amit is known for these very rich, vibrant, colorful pictures. Here, his journey is moved. He's also addressing certain things within himself. So look at it. You may have had a different experience. He's had a different experience. And we all have different experiences depending on when we go, how we go, what our state of mind is. And that's what our journeys are.
He said, he very clearly said that the first 3 months he spent there, he felt he was being a photojournalist and therefore reporting the truth. But he didn't want that to be his canvas. But please put this into context. And it's just a one-person speaker at a time, please.
I'll tell you, frankly speaking, everybody has their own perception of reading a picture. That's all fine, fair enough. But throughout this body of work, I never tried to make any judgment out of it. Except that I wanted to record the moments of Kashmiris. Of course, starkness is there. And I think the starkness is because of the projection also. I was feeling here, the pictures are too stark, There are finer details, there are very fine anecdotes in the pictures which are missing here, completely missing here.
That's what I also think is that, and this room I think is bubbling with that, is that there
But
is-
Kashmir is like that.
There's already a preconceived notion about Kashmir.
Yes.
I can
Yeah,
sense
it's
that.
a...
And which is good, which is bad, and I think again, taking up what Pablo said is that in a way you're trying to indemnify yourself from opinions which may be divorced from the way you are seeing Kashmir as an individual. Okay, I'm a photographer, I tried to be non-judgmental in the beginning when I was looking at photojournalist. Now these are my views on Kashmir, or if you want to look at them as views, or this is how I see Kashmir. Point taken on the music being haunting, and that ultimately it is going to, maybe this is not even the final form the way he intends to show it. So I think being an underlying aggressive brackets already on that, on the geography of what has happened in that place for so long, is going to evoke these strong reactions. And obviously, that coming from opinions of people who have already been there, is going to be even stronger. That's the way you saw Kashmir, that's the way he saw Kashmir. It sounds simplistic, but I think
And that's what the personal
that's
body
his
of work.
getaway. And I think we should respect him for that as much as we respect him
Even
for
if
saying
you
that I totally disagree. So I think that's the beauty of photography, and that's what we are seeing here. That here is somebody who's really wanting to, maybe there will be certain images where you completely disagree that it's exactly opposite of what probably Amit is trying to say. But maybe I think that's also the limitation of showing a slideshow when you're showing something like this.
Images turn out to be at least
And
technical.
some of the images, like Amit said, are really looking two stops under because of the projection limitation.
The first images, you can't even read what was there. I mean, you can make out, but you can't even read. Look.
I don't
I'll tell you, there is a
point
reason
defending
why
the
he's
premise
saying,
of this
there is a
work
reason
is
why he's
trying
saying,
to-
there was an image, I can see, anyway, there was an image of this image. I don't know, from here I can't see the divide, but I don't know what people can make out of this image. Full screen does it.
I thought it should have been the last one,
That's another thing.
just so that people could be led into it.
What you can, is it a simple sunset? Because I can't see practically the problem in the projection. Is it a simple sunset image?
resembles a map of Kashmir in the form of clouds.
And there's a divide.
Yeah.
There's a divide in it with the India.
But Amit, that contradicts what you're saying. That you are bringing in.
It's
your
hanging in
viewpoint.
between somewhere, you know. It's hanging. It's hanging somewhere in between.
But I have a lot of questions.
When I'm not going to bring in what I'm not going to bring in the issue of Kashmir. I respect your view of Kashmir. But my question was that
It's always been controversial. It's always whatever you do with Kashmir.
I agree, and everybody has their own opinions.
Yeah.
So my question is not about Kashmir, but it's about the fact that you said that your project had come to an end. So what is it that said to you that this project has come to an end? Was it when you were going through the editing process, or was it when you felt very saturated by taking these images? Do you feel at some point that you would return and restart?
Okay. Very good question. We had a long discussion with Swapan about this. The second point was my vision was getting narrow. I couldn't see more of the images what I wanted to see. There was a saturation was coming, and maybe because of the starkness, maybe because what I wanted to say, I felt so that I have done it. But yes, like Sopan said, you should continue with some more. For at least for a year, I tried that. Actually, I was finishing the project last year. So saturation was the point. And I think it's very important for a photographer to realize that when to finish the project, when to end the project.
Is there anything?
Quick question.
But you have to finish a project, not to publish a book and still continue with the project.
Yes, you can. Why not? I might do that. Definitely. I think after Diwali, I'm still, I'm dying to go back to Kashmir. Kashmir doesn't leave you. Once you have tasted that flavor, it's not going to leave you. I'm going back. Maybe those pictures are not going. Definitely, they are not going because the final edit is gone. But it's a personal body of work. Who stops you to go? I will be there.
Is it to be lonely or is it a love affair? Or what you went back for this time?
Lonely love affair. It's a lonely love affair. And
Rafi, go ahead.
Thank you. Actually, it's not a question. I have to congratulate you. Because it's not about like or don't like the images. You know, some people will like them, some people will not. Some
that's a
people
beautiful photography.
Some people will have an opinion, some people will have another opinion. But what you have done, you have raised a question, you have created a dialogue, you've steered the conversation, and I think this is what you set out to do. And definitely it will hang out there, and it's a fantastic thing. And I have to congratulate you.
See, that's one of the things which was always there in the back of my mind when I was doing this project, that even if it creates a dialogue between, after seeing the body of work, I'm not about being, I will be the last photographer who will try to prove himself. Because for me, photography is sheer joy. I don't care a shit beyond that. Literally, I don't care. For me, the moment I create an image, why I picked up this project, it was a personal project. The walking into uncertainty is the most fantastic thing one can do. Hunting for images, the moment you pick up an image, you pick up a jewel. And my journey actually ends there. What happens? Of course, you want to see the book, but you want to see the body in larger. You want to share the body with a larger audience. All that is fine, but my sheer joy comes from creating an image. So it was there in my back of my mind when I was doing this project that may whatever one says, but even if it raises the dialogue, if it opens the dialogue, my purpose, not even my purpose, it will help in certain way.
And there's another thing, what we fear the most as photographers is that people will come and say, wow, what a beautiful body.
That's
what
very
this is
dangerous.
pretty."
That's very
You know,
dangerous.
I think
I was doing
you're
for
on this.
15 months. I was doing the pretty pictures, either the pretty pictures or the other extreme of Kashmir. It's very difficult to take a neutral line on Kashmir.
And the thing is that at the end of the day, when you finish your project and it's published, it goes out of your hands. It's not yours anymore.
No, not at
You're
all.
signed on it, but it's
Not
out there in the open. And if it's talked about, and if it creates a disagreement, even, it's great. I mean, if you
It's
bring out,
wonderful. It's wonderful.
and I think in
I
that
have a lot of
sense-
respect for all
that
these
sense-
views. They've come from here because they have a
I think
point
this
of
is
view and a very
fantastic.
valid point of view. They must be having in their own way.
One question about the speed of the project.
Sorry, please come on.
Well, question about the speed of the project. Now, some photographers go to a place for maybe 2 weeks, a month, and create a body of work out of it. And then there are others who spend, they have a longer term love affair that's, go back and forth, and you have an emotion that evolves out of it. So in your case, for example, in 15 months, you did your set first. You came to a point of view on, let's say, the loneliness, the starkness of the region, and then your second journey in Kashmir shows that. From your viewpoint, is it possible always to do the quick job of 1 month, 2 month projects, or do some projects always require a longer term relationship?
Well, as far as the quick jobs are concerned, I'll be shooting tomorrow in Chennai. Commercial projects are there. 1 week, 4 days shoot, 5 days shoot. Just to get rid of those, we take long-term projects. My next project is spread over 9 countries. It's again very individualistic approach. How a photographer approaches a subject. Some people, there is no guideline, there is no yardstick. It depends, I think, for every photographer, from photographer to photographer, how he wants to engage himself. Maybe like Swapan said, you should be there but for another year. For him, still, you need some more starkness.
So, between the two projects that you do, the short term and the long term, do you see it from your own judgment? Do you see a level of maturity, emotion more in one or the other, or do you see the longer term to be more emotional or more evolved in your understanding of the place?
And it's not about the place of photography. The more you get involved in a project, the more you evolve as a person. Long-term project really helps. 1 year project, 2 year projects, and what I'm saying is completely for me. I don't know about the other. Doesn't work for me. I mean, for example, the best example was Richard Bartholomew. We just came to know that work has seen the light of the day now. It was a lifetime body of work, and I can assure you, you pick up any Indian contemporary photographer of 2011, a reference is there in his body of work, which he has shot 50 years back. You pick up any Indian contemporary photographers. I have actually walked with Devika in the gallery, picture to picture. This looks like her, this looks like his. Very silently he was doing his body of work. And the best body of work comes when your photographer is working silently on a project without any hoo-ha.
I want to know, you said you left the camera and you went and spoke to many people, Chaiwala, the local. I just want to know who changed? You spoke to people, any particular incident or any picture, any time, any incident which changed?
The incident was, actually I should have said.
I don't know.
No, I should have said this. The process of transition. I was very disillusioned about my work only. I was repeating myself again and again. I was meeting a lot of scholars, and this is the first time actually I realized that the importance of dialogue in a photography project. The school we are coming from, we just, pick up your camera and jump on the street and start shooting. But this was the time, just to take a back seat, drop your camera that's exactly what he meant. Drop your camera. It was hard to drop the camera in Delhi. Maybe kuch mil jaye. Drop the camera in the hotel. And when I started talking to a lot of scholars, the range was wide, from scholars to Maulvis to Hurriyat to journalists to corporate people. Very few people know that corporate world is always thriving in Kashmir now, which is not here at the moment. Few girls are there from the corporate world. So the transition was, I met a gentleman called Salim Beg. Salim Beg is the director of Intech in Kashmir. And I was normally discussing with everybody. And the problem started when I was discussing this fact that, why can't we do some different imagery of Kashmir? Why can't we show Kashmir? Of course, it's a lonely place, a stark place, but why can't we do the treatment in a different manner? Why we are shooting only conflict, only conflict? He said, it's a wonderful thing, he said. He said, did you ever try to see Kashmir after Sunday? I said, what do you mean by that? He said, the protests start on Friday. A lot of photojournalists are here. It's a complete package deal. I'm not degrading any movement, but for a photographer, if he's a calculated photographer, he knows in 5 days you land up in Kashmir. I went to Kashmir number of times, I landed over there, there is a strike. What you are seeing just watching only Pakistani channel in a hotel room. You come back to Delhi, you prepone your flight tickets, nothing happens. Friday to Sunday, 2 years back, before this 2010 turmoil, Friday to Sunday was 3 days, definite violence, not a chalk. Be there, bound to get pictures, guaranteed pictures. I know foreign photographers came, especially people from Seven, Magnum. I have seen, spoken to them, very specific, focused. The gentleman asked me, did you ever try to see Kashmir after Sunday? People also live between Monday to Friday. आप हमारे दिलों में आके देखिए, आप हमारे घरों में आके देखिए, अभी तक आपने लोगों को सड़कों पे देखा है. That was the transition, because I was shooting people only on the streets in terms of violence. That was the transition.
Is your publisher ready for your book?
The first time when I met Bena Salim, the project was 60% over. The first time she saw the book, and I have a lot of respect for her sensibilities. You very rarely you find such editors sitting in publishing house where you expect that, this picture, so editor will say, just take it out. The worst of the pictures from the point of view of publishing world, she picked up, and in the first meeting she said, we are doing this project, you are not going to anywhere. Within a week, the contract was signed with Bengal.
But they know what you're delivering. And how different is your book in tone from the projection?
It's going to.
Okay, may I, sorry, we have two speakers, we're running badly behind schedule. What I'm going to request Amit is, if he's going to be here after the two speakers, are you going to be here? You don't leave the Chennai. So he'll be at the plaza steps, say from 6 o'clock onwards? I'm free now. 6 o'clock onwards. She's definitely be there, so that's up.
I think you have enough people.
Sorry, we'll have to move on now. Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you.